Boothbay Harbor, Maine, October 12, 2015. A fog blankets the docks, and Daniel Lewis, a 32-year-old father, steps out for a walk, promising his wife he'll be back. Hours later, his truck sits idling by the harbor, door open, keys inside, Daniel gone. In a town where neighbors know every face, someone saw something that night, something they've kept silent. Boothbay Harbor, built on lobster and loyalty, hides a mystery tied to a chilling past. A woman's truck, stained with blood, a case never solved. What happened to Daniel Lewis? What does this small town know? Stay with us, this story will pull you in, and you'll need to know the truth. Boothbay Harbor is a coastal village of 2,000 where the Atlantic sets the pace. Its docks brim with lobster traps, boats creaking in the tide, while shops on commercial streets sell sea glass to tourists. In 2015, the Blue Moon Cafe buzzes with locals, and the harbor's fishing boats are the town's lifeblood. This is Daniel Lewis's world. At 32, he's a lobsterman, hands scarred from hauling lines, hazel eyes lighting up for his family. He coaches Little League, cheers kids on the Puffin Pirates, and dreams of a seafood shack, serving lobster rolls with his daughter Mia helping out. Daniel's heart belongs to Sarah, his wife, and their girls Mia, 6, and Lily, 3. Sarah teaches 3rd grade at Boothbay Elementary, her warmth balancing Daniel's quiet strength. They met in high school, married at St. Columba's Church, and live in a shingled home on Atlantic Avenue, cluttered with Mia's drawings and Lily's toys. Daniel builds kites with Mia, reads Lily stories about crabs, and leaves Sarah notes, "Love you, back soon." His late-night walks to the harbor are routine, a way to ease his mind. Sarah trusts them, hearing his boots fade down the drive. Boothbay Harbor thrives on trust. Ellen Hayes runs the Blue Moon Cafe, serving Daniel's black coffee before he asks. Sheriff Paul Dutton, a lifelong local, patrols with a nod, having coached Daniel in basketball. The town's fishing community is tight, sharing nets at the co-op, stories at the lobster trap pub. But some are renters, outsiders with yachts spark friction, their wealth clashing with locals like Daniel. A darker memory lingers. In 1989, Pamela Webb, 32, vanished from Biddeford, 50 miles south. Her truck, found bloodied on the Maine Turnpike, shocked the region. Her body, later found in New Hampshire, left no answers. Boothbay's older residents like Ellen recall the fear, a shadow over their safe haven. Daniel faced struggles in 2015. A weak lobster season hit hard. Fewer catches meant his boat, the Sea Wren, was losing money, its engine faltering. He'd talk about his seafood shack at the cafe, sketching plans, but Sarah saw him grow tense, staring at bills. "Just the tides," he'd say, smiling for her. Ellen noticed him quieter, his coffee cooling. Dutton saw him walking Townsend Avenue at night, hands in pockets, but thought it was just work. Boothbay's way was to keep troubles private, and Daniel followed suit, his stress unspoken. That night, Daniel's day was normal. He hauled traps, watched Mia's soccer practice, ate spaghetti with the girls, and hung Lily's pumpkin drawing. At 10 o'clock p.m., as Sarah read to Lily, Daniel paced, his phone buzzing once, unanswered. "Going for a walk," he told Sarah, grabbing his flannel jacket and keys. "To the harbor," Sarah nodded. "Love you," she said. He grinned, stepped out, and was gone. Boothbay Harbor knew Daniel, his family, his dreams. But that night, someone saw something, and it broke the town apart. What was it, and why the silence? By dawn on October 13, 2015, Boothbay Harbor's fog begins to lift, but a darker mystery takes hold. Daniel Lewis, the 32-year-old lobsterman who walked out for a late-night stroll, is gone. His Ford F-150 sits idling on Townsend Avenue, door open, keys in the ignition, as if he stepped away for a moment. Sarah Lewis, his wife, stands by the pier calling his name, her voice lost in the harbor's chill. In a town where neighbors rally, the shock of Daniel's absence ripples from the docks to the Blue Moon Cafe. A single lead a stranger seen with Daniel offers hope, but it's quickly buried. Boothbay Harbor knows loss. Years ago, another truck was found, its owner never fully found. What happened to Daniel that night? Who was with him? And why is the truth already slipping through this town's fingers? The night of Daniel's disappearance was cold, the fog so thick it muffled the harbor's buoys. After leaving his Atlantic Avenue home at 11 o'clock p.m., Daniel drove his truck a quarter-mile to Townsend Avenue, a quiet stretch by the pier where he often walked to think. Sarah, waking at 2 o'clock a.m. to an empty bed, felt a flicker of worry but assumed he'd lingered by the water. She called his phone straight to voicemail. By 5 o'clock a.m., her unease grew. Daniel never stayed out this long, not with Mia and Lily waiting. She checked the porch, the garage, then drove to the pier, hoping to see his truck parked, Daniel napping inside. Instead, she found nothing but waves lapping the dock, her heart sinking with each unanswered call. At 6 o'clock a.m., Tom Carver, a grizzled lobsterman and Daniel's mentor, spotted the truck while heading to his boat at the Boothbay Harbor Co-op. The Ford's engine hummed, its headlights cutting through the mist, driver's door wide open. Keys dangled in the ignition, Daniel's wallet in the glove box with $20 and his ID, but his phone, always on him, was gone. Tom shouted Daniel's name, his bad knee slowing him as he checked the pier. Nothing but gravel and gulls. He drove to Sarah's house, his knock urgent. "Sarah, it's Dan's truck," he said, face pale. "He ain't there." Sarah, pulling on a coat, rushed to Townsend with Tom. Mia and Lily left with a neighbor. She stood by the truck, its emptiness a punch to her gut, and searched the pier, calling out, her voice breaking as Mia's question echoed in her mind, "Where's Daddy?" Neighbors gathered quickly. Ellen Hayes from the cafe, dock workers, fishermen forming a hasty search along the harbor's edge. The truck showed no signs of violence, no scratches, no blood, just Daniel's puffin pirate's cap on the seat. Sarah clutched the wallet, its photo of the girls at Pemaquid Point blurring through her tears. She dialed Daniel's phone again, voicemail mocking her hope. The pier was barren, no footprints in the damp gravel, no clue where Daniel went. Ellen brought coffee, her hands shaking, while locals scoured nearby beaches, their calls fading into the morning. Boothbay Harbor, a town that prided itself on coming together, faced a loss it couldn't grasp, the memory of Pamela Webb's 1989 disappearance stirring unease. Her truck, found bloodied on the Maine Turnpike, had left Biddeford reeling. Now, Daniel's truck felt like a chilling repeat. Sheriff Paul Dutton arrived by 6:30 a.m., his cruiser pulling up as Sarah pleaded for action. "Paul, he's gone," she said, voice sharp. "His truck's here, but he's not." Dutton, who'd known Daniel since he was a kid, walked the pier, his flashlight sweeping the water. He took Sarah's statement, Daniel's walk at 11 o'clock p.m., his missing phone, the wallet left behind, but leaned toward a grim theory. Daniel, stressed by a failing lobster season, might have drowned or wandered off. "He's been quiet lately," Dutton said, noting Daniel's tense walks. Sarah snapped back. "He'd never leave us, Paul. He was planning Mia's Halloween costume, a pirate." "He's not gone like that," she demanded. "A full search, divers, volunteers, anything." Dutton called the Coast Guard for a harbor sweep but moved slowly, his deputies checking nearby trails with little urgency. The Coast Guard launched a boat from Boothbay's station, its crew scanning Sheepshead Bay, but the water, cold and clear, held no trace, no body, no flannel jacket. A state police trooper photographed the truck, finding only Daniel's fingerprints. Locals, now dozens strong, searched Macomb Point, their boots crunching frost, but found nothing. Sarah, soaked from walking to shore, refused to leave the pier, her eyes fixed on the spot where the truck had idled. Then Tom Carver pulled Dutton aside, his voice low. He said that at 11:30 p.m., while walking near the footbridge, he'd seen Daniel by his truck, talking to a tall man in a dark coat, face shadowed, voice clipped up, Maine, maybe city. They seemed tense, Daniel gesturing sharply. Tom kept walking, thinking it was personal, but now regretted it. I should have stopped, he told Sarah, who seized the lead. Who was he, Tom? What did he say? Dutton shut it down fast. Tom, you were at the lobster trap till 10 o'clock, he said. You sure you weren't drunk? Tom, stunned, insisted he'd had one beer, his story clear, but Dutton called it unreliable, refusing to canvass Townsend Avenue. Sarah was livid. Tom was family, the man who'd taught Daniel to tie knots. If he saw a stranger, it mattered. She begged Dutton to check marina cameras or asked at the tugboat inn, but he focused on the harbor, dismissing the lead as a distraction. Why was Tom's story ignored? Was it Boothbay's instinct to protect its own, or fear of what the stranger might mean? In a town haunted by Pamela Webb's unsolved loss, Daniel's case was already slipping toward the same fate. Boothbay Harbor buzzed with shock, the news spreading from the co-op to the cafe. Ellen overheard customers whispering about Pamela Webb, whose truck in 1989 had sparked fear across Maine, her case cold despite a body found. Now, Daniel's truck felt like an omen, a sign Boothbay might lose another soul to mystery. Sarah stood by the pier, clutching Daniel's cap, her mind racing. Was he hurt, taken, or, as Dutton feared, lost to the sea? Tom's stranger was her lifeline, the only clue in a town to stand to see clearly. Daniel Lewis was gone, and Boothbay Harbor, for all its loyalty, couldn't bring him back. Boothbay Harbor, Maine, October 2015. Days after Daniel Lewis vanished, his truck found idling on Townsend Avenue, the town's shock turns to frustration. The 32-year-old lobsterman, a father who'd never miss his daughter's bedtime, is nowhere, not in the harbor, not on the pier, not in the life he loved. Sarah Lewis clings to a fleeting lead, a stranger seen with Daniel while Sheriff Paul Dutton's investigation stalls, dismissing clues that don't fit his view. New suspicions point to an outsider, and the secret Daniel kept from Sarah shakes her trust. Boothbay, a place of loyalty, begins to fracture, haunted by a past mystery. Another truck, another loss, never solved. Was Daniel hiding something, or was the town? And why does the truth feel so far out of reach? The investigation into Daniel's disappearance wraps up, but it's a battle against Boothbay Harbor's own limits. By October 14th, Maine State Police arrive, their boots crunching gravel on Townsend Avenue, but the town's isolation, flanked by water and dense pines, makes answers elusive. No security cameras catch the pier, the one at Commercial Street is broken. Detectives comb Daniel's truck, finding only his fingerprints and a Blue Moon Cafe receipt, no blood or struggle. A critical clue emerges: Daniel's phone, missing from the truck, pinged at 1:15 a.m. On October 13th in Pinewood Forest, a tangled, roadless stretch 20 miles north near Wiscasset. State police and volunteers search the muddy bogs, hoping for a phone, a jacket, anything, but the forest yields nothing, the ping a dead end that baffles Sarah. How did Daniel's phone travel 20 miles in 2 hours, with no road or car to explain it? Sarah pushes Sheriff Dutton to chase Tom Carver's lead, the lobsterman's claim of seeing Daniel with a tall stranger in a dark coat at 11:30 p.m. She corners Dutton at his office, her voice steady. Tom saw someone, Paul. Find him, but Dutton, who's fished with Tom for years, doubts the story. Tom's known for drinking, a DUI on his record, and Dutton saw him at the Lobster Trap pub hours before the sighting. He was half-lit, Sarah, Dutton says, brushing it off. Probably saw a tourist. Sarah, furious, points out Tom's loyalty, Daniel's mentor, who carried Mia at the Windjammer Days festival. She begs for a canvas for marina footage, But Dutton sticks to his theory. Daniel, stressed by money troubles, likely drowned. Coast Guard divers scour the harbor again, finding only seaweed, while Sarah feels the case slipping away. Boothbay's whispers turn on Tom. At the Blue Moon Cafe, Ellen Hayes overhears locals like bake dealer Bobby Kane question his story. "Tom's always got a tall tale," Bobby says, noting a past argument over a loan Daniel gave in. Was Tom hiding something, or just an easy target? Ellen, wiping down the counter, shares a different lead with Sarah. 3 weeks before Daniel vanished, he argued with Mark Ellis, a Boston renter with a yacht, the North Star, docked near Daniel's sea ran. Daniel had confronted Ellis about his boat's wake, which damaged lobster traps. Sarah, stunned, recalls Daniel's frustration with rich outsiders. State police question Ellis, now back in Boston, who admits to a brief clash but says he left Boothbay on October 10th, his yacht log clean. His alibi holds, but Sarah wonders, could a man like Ellis, with wealth and connections, be involved? Then, a bombshell drops. On October 18th, a state police detective shows Sarah a bank statement. Daniel withdrew $10,000 in cash from First National Bank on September 28, a secret account Sarah didn't know existed. The teller, Judy Blake, said Daniel was nervous, asking for small bills, glancing around. Sarah, sitting in the sheriff's office, feels her world tilt. "He never told me," she says, voice hollow. The police press. Was Daniel paying a debt, planning to leave, or caught in something illegal? Sarah shakes her head. He was coaching Mia's team, planning Lily's birthday, not running. But the money gnaws at her, a crack in the man she trusted. Had Daniel been hiding something, or was he protecting her? $10,000, a stranger, a phone, pink clues that led nowhere. Was Daniel's secret his own, or Boothbay's? Boothbay Harbor feels the weight of history. In 1989, Pamela Webb's disappearance shook Maine. Her truck found bloodied on the Maine Turnpike, her body later in New Hampshire, no killer caught. Ellen, who served coffee during those searches, sees the same fear now. Customers at the Blue Moon whispering about another cold case. Sarah hears it too. Her resolve hardening. She won't let Daniel's story end like Pamela's. But the investigation's hurdles, Dutton's bias, Boothbay's silence, the forest's emptiness loom large. Someone in this town, Sarah believes, knows more than they're saying. In a place where loyalty runs deep, what's keeping the truth locked away? And what did that $10,000 mean for Daniel Lewis? October fades into November 2015 in Boothbay Harbor, Maine, but Daniel Lewis remains missing, his truck on Townsend Avenue a fading memory. Sarah Lewis, reeling from the discovery of Daniel's secret $10,000 withdrawal, refuses to let his case grow cold. The 32-year-old lobsterman, father to Mia and Lily, is more than a mystery to her. He's the man who promised to come home. As Boothbay's investigation falters, Sarah takes up the fight, her determination clashing with a town torn by doubt. A new witness offers a glimmer of hope, but the cost of Daniel's absence weighs heavy on his family and a community haunted by another lost Pamela Webb, whose case never found answers. How long can Sarah keep fighting? And what is Boothbay Harbor holding back? Sarah becomes the heart of the search for Daniel, her life now a mission. By late October, with the Maine State Police hitting dead ends, she turns their Atlantic Avenue home into a command center, the kitchen table covered with flyers bearing Daniel's face, hazel eyes, scruffy beard, last seen October 12th. She posts them across Boothbay, from the Blue Moon Cafe to the Hannaford supermarket, her voice steady as she hands them to strangers. He's my husband, my girl's dad. Please, help us. Unable to afford the mortgage on her teacher's salary, Sarah moves with Mia and Lily to her parents' cramped duplex on C Street, its rooms stuffed with the girls' toys and Daniel's lobster traps. She scrapes together $5,000 for a private investigator, but leads are thin, and Boothbay's silence grows louder. Sarah takes her fight public, appearing on WCSH 6 News in Portland in November 2015. Standing under studio lights, she recounts Daniel's last night, his walk, the truck, Tom Carver's stranger. Someone knows something, she says, her eyes fixed on the camera. The broadcast sparks tips sightings in Bangor, a vague report from Vermont, but none pan out. Sarah pins hope on Tom's lead, begging Sheriff Paul Dutton to check marina cameras, but he insists the stranger was a drunk's story, his focus still on the harbor. Boothbay rallies behind Sarah at first, Ellen Hayes taping flyers in the Blue Moon's window, locals searching trails near Knickerbocker Lake. In January 2016, and no lead surfaces, fragile but electrifying. Carl Pruitt, a truck driver passing through Boothbay, sees Sarah's news segment and calls her. He says that around 2 o'clock a.m. On October 13th, he stopped at a gas station on Route 27, just outside town, and saw a man matching Daniel's description: green flannel, bearded, nervous, hitchhiking with a small bag. Pruitt, in a hurry, didn't offer a ride but remembered the man's anxious glances. Sarah's heart races. This could explain the Pinewood Forest phone ping 20 miles north. She alerts the state police, who interview Pruitt, a father with no record. But the gas station has no cameras, and Wiscasset residents saw no strangers. Dutton, skeptical, calls it a mistake. Daniel's face is plastered across Maine. Sarah, undeterred, drives to Route 27, scouring the roadside for a clue: a button, a scrap of cloth, finding only gravel and her own exhaustion. Boothbay Harbor begins to split. Ellen organizes a vigil on November 1st at Whale Park, where locals light candles, their breath visible in the cold. But tension flares. A fisherman heckles Tom Carver, shouting, "What did you see, Tom? Tell us straight." Tom, face flushed, leaves, Sarah chasing after to comment. She trusts Tom, who taught Daniel to splice rope, but doubts creep in as locals point to his drinking, his vague stranger description. Others, like Bobby, fuel rumors Daniel fled, the $10,000 proof he wasn't the man Sarah thought. The Blue Moon becomes a battleground of opinions, Ellen struggling to keep peace. Pamela Webb's 1989 case, its bloodied truck, and unanswered questions, hangs over the town. Ellen, who was young then, recalls the fear. Now she sees it in Sarah's eyes, a wife fighting history's pull. The toll on the Lewis family is crushing. Sarah, on leave from teaching, spends nights on online forums, chasing tips about missing men, each dead end a wound. Mia, 6, draws pictures of Daniel's boat, asking, "Is Daddy lost at sea?" Sarah, swallowing tears, says, "We're looking, sweetie." Lily, 3, hugs a photo of Daniel, calling him Daddy Fish. Her memories fading. The C Street duplex is a shrine. Daniel's cap, his nets, his love for his girls preserved in every corner. Sarah's parents urge her to rest, citing Pamela Webb's family, who never found closure. But Sarah can't stop. Her days spent walking Boothbay's docks, her nights replaying Tom's stranger, Pruitt's hitchhiker, the $10,000 she never knew about. Sarah fought for Daniel, but Boothbay was fighting itself. Was the town's silence loyalty, or something else? And what did that hitchhiker mean? Winter 2016 grips Boothbay Harbor, Maine, its docks quiet under snow, but Daniel Lewis's absence haunts every corner. The 32-year-old lobsterman, gone since that foggy October night. Left behind a truck, a family, and a town wrestling with questions. Sarah Lewis, fighting through Boothbay's doubts, and her own holds tight to leads that fade like mist. The stranger, the hitchhiker, the $10,000 no one can explain. Theories swirl from tragedy to betrayal, but answers stay out of reach. Boothbay, shaped by loyalty, faces its limits, shadowed by Pamela Webb's 1989 loss. A truck, a life, a case left cold. What happened to Daniel? Who knows the truth? And what does his story reveal about the towns we trust? Daniel's case is a knot of unanswered questions. Why did Sheriff Paul Dutton dismiss Tom Carver as sighting of a stranger with Daniel on October 12, 2015? Was it to shield Tom, a local, or to avoid a truth Boothbay couldn't face? What was the $10,000 Daniel withdrew, a secret kept from Sarah? A debt, a plan, or something else? Why did his phone ping at 1:15 a.m. in Pinewood Forest, 20 miles away, with no roads to connect it to his truck on Townsend Avenue? The investigation's failures sting: no cameras, no fingerprints, no body in the harbor or Forest. Pamela Webb's case, with its bloodied truck on the Maine Turnpike and no justice since 1989, looms as a warning. Boothbay's silence could bury Daniel's truth, just as Biddeford lost Pamela's. Theories about Daniel's fate divide Boothbay. Sheriff Dutton leans toward suicide or accident, suggesting Daniel, crushed by a failing lobster season, walked into the harbor or crashed in Pinewood Forest. Locals like Bobby Kane at the Blue Moon Cafe nod to this, citing the $10,000 as proof of despair. Sarah rejects it. Daniel planned Mia's pirate costume, saved for Lily's birthday, and swam like a fish. No body surfaced in the harbor's clear waters, no wreck in the forest's bogs. He's not gone like that, she tells Ellen Hayes, her voice firm. The theory feels too easy, ignoring the stranger, the ping, the cash. Another theory whispers of voluntary departure. The $10,000, some say, was Daniel's ticket out, maybe to Canada, a border close enough to cross quietly. Online forums buzz with this, noting Daniel's unanswered phone buzzes before he left. Had he been planning to escape debts or stress? Sarah insists he lived for his girls. His notes to her, his games with Lily, his soccer cheers for Mia were real. If he fled, why leave his wallet, his truck, his life behind? Carl Pruitt's 2016 hitchhiker sighting on Route 27 fuels this idea. But with no proof, it's a ghost like Daniel himself. Foul play splits into two paths. Some point to Mark Ellis, the Boston renter whose yacht clashed with Daniel raised flags. His clean alibi and quick exit from Boothbay. Dante silenced suspicions. Could his wealth have covered a crime? Others look closer at Tom Carver. His drinking, a past loan dispute with Daniel, and his vague stranger story make him a target at the Lobster Trap pub. Was Tom involved, or hiding behind a fabricated leg? Boothbay's reluctance to talk to state police, its quick defense of Tom, mirrors Pamela Webb's case, where locals stayed quiet, letting answers slip. Did Boothbay's loyalty hide a crime, or was the truth somewhere else? Ellis, the stranger, or beyond? A missed lead in 2017 deepens the frustration. A Nova Scotia fisherman tells state police he met a deckhand resembling Daniel in Halifax, with Maine tattoos, a lobster, a lighthouse. Sarah, draining her savings, flies to Canada. But the man is gone, the bar empty of clues. Like Pamela Webb's fading tip sightings, truck drivers, none confirmed. It's another dead end. Sarah's hope frays, but she keeps Daniel's flyer up, his face a plea for truth. Boothbay's vigils, held at St. Columba's Church, grow smaller. Candles lit for Daniel, a father, not just a case. Ellen Hayes at the vigil urges respect. He's Mia and Lily's dad, not a story. But the mystery lingers, pulling at the town's heart. Daniel's case reveals hard truths about rural mysteries. Boothbay's insularity, Dutton's bias. The town's silence shows how loyalty can choke justice. Maine's state police, spread thin across vast counties, struggle with cases like Daniel's, where leads vanish in fog. Over 600,000 people go missing yearly in the U.S., many in small towns where resources lag and silence is a code. Pamela Webb's family, still waiting 36 years later, knows this pain. Daniel's story pushes for change: better cameras, faster searches, less trust in neighbors' word. Boothbay, like Biddeford, carries guilt, its docks quieter, its faith in itself shaken. What does it take to break a town's silence? And who's still holding Daniel's truth? Boothbay Harbor, Maine, carries Daniel Lewis's absence like a wound that won't close. The 32-year-old lobsterman vanished on October 12, 2015, his truck left idling on Townsend Avenue. A puzzle no one can solve. Sarah Lewis, with daughters Mia and Lily, fights to keep his name alive. Her flyers still taped to lampposts, are hope defying a town's fading resolve. Questions linger: a stranger, $10,000, a phone ping in Pinewood Forest, each a thread pulling at Boothbay's heart. Pamela Webb's 1989 disappearance, her bloodied truck a grim echo, warns that answers can slip away. Daniel's story calls for action, for voices to break the silence. And in Camden, another mystery waits, tied to a secret affair. Will you help find the truth for Daniel, for others, before it's lost forever? Daniel's legacy is etched in Boothbay Harbor's streets. Sarah's fight flyers, news please. Endless searches keeps his case breathing, a beacon against the quiet that swallowed Pamela Webb. A $50,000 reward posted on the Maine State Police website offers hope for answers, funded by Sarah's GoFundMe and local donations. Her work exposed Boothbay's flaws. Sheriff Paul Dutton's quick dismissal of Tom Carver's stranger, the town's reluctance to talk. The case prompted new cameras on Townsend Avenue, a small win, but too late for Daniel. At the Blue Moon Cafe, Alan Hayes keeps his flyer up, a reminder of a father, not just a mystery. Annual vigils at St. Columba's Church light candles for Daniel, Mia and Lily holding his photo. Their faith in his return unshaken. Boothbay, shaken by its own limits, honors Daniel through the Puffin Pirates, his little league team, now a symbol of his grit. This is your moment to join the search. Someone out there knows something. A face on Townsend Avenue, a story from the Lobster Trap Pub, a clue about that $10,000. If you were in Boothbay Harbor on October 12, 2015, or heard a whisper about a man with a lobster tattoo, call the Maine State Police or submit a tip at maine.gov/dps/MSP. Every detail counts. Carl Pruitt's hitchhiker sighting, ignored by Dutton, shows even small leads matter. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you make of Mark Ellis's alibi, Tom's stranger, or the Pinewood Forest ping? Was Daniel taken, or did he leave? Join our discussions on X and YouTube, where thousands debate Boothbay's secrets, keeping Daniel's case alive. Subscribe now, your voice could unlock the truth. Sarah presses on, teaching at Boothbay Elementary, her nights spent checking tip lines, her days walking the pier where Daniel's truck stood. Mia, now a teenager, wears Daniel's Puffin Pirates cap, aiming to study the sea he loved. Lily, clinging to his photo, draws boats labeled Daddy Fish, her connection to him unbroken. The C Street duplex holds Daniel's life, his nets, his love for his girls. Pamela Webb's family, still grieving 36 years later, wrote to Sarah, their shared loss a bond across Maine. Boothbay carries its guilt quietly, some blaming Dutton's inaction, others wishing Sarah would move on, but the $50,000 reward stands, a call for anyone, anywhere, to speak up. Now a new mystery beckons. In Camden, Maine, 2018, Emily Harper, a 35-year-old baker, vanishes after locking up her shop on a rainy April night. Her car, found on Route 1, holds a single rose and her keys. But no Emily. Whispers in Camden point to a secret affair with a married local, a man whose late-night visits to her bakery drew eyes. A note in Emily's apartment, found days later, hints at fear, a lover's threat, or something darker. What was Emily hiding? Did her affair pull her into danger? Or was the rose a clue to a deeper truth? Camden, with its quaint streets and hidden stories, holds the answers. Emily's case, like Daniel's, needs you. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the rose means? Have you heard of affairs turning deadly in small towns? Your ideas could spark a lead for Sarah, for Emily's family, for the countless waiting. Daniel's story, and Pama webs show how truth can vanish in places we feel safe on a foggy pier or rainy road. It's on us to keep searching, to demand answers, to ensure no one fades away. Subscribe, comment, share, because someone knows what happened to Daniel Lewis, to Emily Harper. Let's find them together. The truth is out there, and you could be the key.